Most people think becoming rich just means having more money. But that's not how wealth really changes your life. There are 3 specific wealth levels where your stress, freedom, opportunities, and even the way you think about the future completely transform. Watch this video to the end, because once you understand these 3 wealth thresholds, you'll know exactly where you are today and what it will actually take to reach the next level. You can make 90 grand a year and feel completely broke, and you can make the exact same 90 grand and feel untouchable. Same paycheck. The difference comes down to one number almost nobody can name. Meet Jace and Logan. Same job, same company, same $90,000 salary that lands the same Friday. Same gas station coffee on the commute in. On paper, you couldn't tell them apart. Then both their cars break down the same week. Same shop, a $400 repair each. Jace taps his card and goes back to scrolling. Doesn't flinch. Logan reads the estimate 3 times, feels his stomach drop, and opens his banking app to figure out which payment he can push to next month. Same income, same bill. 2 completely different humans. And what separates Jace from Logan isn't discipline. It isn't luck. And it is definitely not the salary. It's a number neither of them ever talks about: net worth. There are 3 specific points on that number line where life quietly stops feeling like a treadmill and starts feeling like something else entirely. My name is Nick, and I've spent an embarrassing amount of time figuring out why 2 people with identical paychecks can live in completely different realities. If you've ever felt like you're working hard and somehow standing still, do me a favor and hit subscribe, because today we're mapping the 3 net worth levels where your entire experience of money changes. And I'll warn you now, the 3rd level does something to people that almost nobody sees coming. Plenty of folks reach it and are still miserable. And the research finally explains why. We'll get there, but the 1st level is closer than you think. So, let's start at the bottom. Here's the framing that makes all of this click. We obsess over income. How much do you make? What's the salary? What's the raise? But income is just water flowing through your hands. Net worth is what's actually left in the bucket after it flows through. And it turns out the bucket has 3 lines painted on the inside. 3 levels where once you cross them, the water starts behaving differently. Jace had crossed the 1st line. Logan hadn't. That's the entire story of the car repair. Level 1, $100,000. Escape velocity, 100 grand. I know for some of you that number feels impossibly far away, and for others it feels almost insultingly small. Stay with me because this is the most important threshold in the entire video, and the math behind it is genuinely beautiful. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's late business partner, a man worth billions, was once asked about building wealth, and his answer has been quoted to death for a reason. He said, and I'm cleaning this up slightly for YouTube, the first H100,000 is but you got to do it. I don't care what you have to do. Find a way to get your hands on $100,000. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit. Now, why would a billionaire fixate on a number that to him was a rounding error? Because the first 100,000 is the only stretch of the entire journey where you do basically all the work. Let me show you, because this is where it gets good. Say you're saving and investing $10,000 a year, earning a 7% return. Getting from 0 to your first 100,000 takes you roughly 7, almost 8 years, and during those years, the market is barely helping you. Almost every dollar in that account is a dollar you personally earn, saved, and refuse to spend. It's a slog. It feels slow because it is slow. But watch what happens next. Going from H100,000 to 200,000 doesn't take another 8 years. It takes about 5. From 200 to 300,000 under 4 years. And here's the part that should make you sit up. Going from 500,000 to a full million takes about the same amount of time it took you to scrape together that very first 100 grand. Except now you're generating 10 times the wealth in that same window. Same effort, same patience, wildly different output. Why? Because somewhere in there, your money quietly clocked in for its first day of work. At a 100,000 invested at 7%, your portfolio throws off about $7,000 a year on its own. That's nearly a full year's maxed out IRA contribution earned by money while you were asleep. You spent 8 years pushing the snowball uphill, and at 100 grand, it crests the top and starts rolling down the other side on its own. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. The real magic of 100 grand isn't the math at all. It's what it does to your brain. There's a study I think about constantly. Researchers set up shop in a New Jersey mall and grabbed regular shoppers. They asked them to imagine a car repair, exactly the situation Jason Logan just walked through. For half the people, the repair cost $150. For the other half, $1,500. Then they had everyone take a standard cognitive test, the kind that measures raw problem solving. The wealthier shoppers, no difference between the two groups, but the lower income shoppers who had to imagine the fit $500 repair scored dramatically worse. About a full standard deviation lower, same people, same brains. The only thing that changed was that they spent 30 seconds worrying about money they didn't have. The researchers' own description of that effect is the part that haunts me. They said it's comparable to losing a full night of sleep. So picture going through your entire life, every decision, every conversation, every parenting moment, every shot at a promotion, permanently a little sleep deprived. Not because you're tired, but because some part of your mind is always running a background calculation about whether you can cover an emergency. That's Logan in the parking lot. His brain isn't worse than Jace's, it's just taxed. And it's not rare. The Federal Reserve recently found that nearly 30% of American adults couldn't handle a surprise $500 expense using cash or savings, and around 30% couldn't cover 3 months of expenses by any means at all. That's not a discipline problem. That's a cushion problem. $100,000 buys you out of that, not into a yacht, into quiet, into a brain that isn't humming with low-grade financial static. That's why it's level 1. It's not about getting rich. It's about getting your mind back. Quick honesty check before we climb higher. And be real with yourself here, because the next 2 levels only matter once you've nailed this one. Are you below this line, sitting right on it, or past it? Hold that answer in your head. It'll change how you hear everything that comes next. Level 2, 500,000 to $1 million. When your money gets a job. Okay, so you've hit escape velocity. The static is gone. Now what? Now you enter the strangest, most psychologically interesting stretch of the whole journey. The climb from $500,000 to $1 million. And the reason it's strange is that for the first time, the most productive worker in your household might not be a person. Let's go back to the math, because it tells the whole story. At $500,000 invested, a 7% return generates around $35,000 a year. Sit with that. 35 grand appearing annually produced by nothing but money you already had. For context, that's roughly what the typical American earns from a full-time job. Your portfolio is now pulling in a respectable second income, and it doesn't call in sick, doesn't ask for a raise, and doesn't hate Mondays. And at a full $1 million, that same 7% throws off about $70,000 a year. That's more than the typical American individual earns in a year. Ride that again. At $1 million invested, your money out here's a full-time salary. And it does it while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're doing literally anything else. This is the level where the phrase work optional stops being a fantasy you see on a beach in some guru's ad and starts being a thing you can actually see on the horizon. You're not there yet, but you can see it, and seeing it changes how you carry yourself. Here's how level 2 feels in real life. It's the meeting where your boss says something genuinely unreasonable, and instead of swallowing it, you realize calmly, almost surprised by yourself, that you could walk. You won't today, but you could. That single internal shift, knowing you have a real choice, quietly rewires how you negotiate, what you tolerate, and how much of your self-respect you're willing to trade for a paycheck. It also shows up in smaller, almost invisible ways. It's not checking the price of every item before it goes in the cart. It's booking the direct flight instead of the one with 2 layovers to save $60. It's the dishwasher dying, and the entire crisis lasting about 4 minutes. You Google a replacement. You buy it. It's over. None of these are luxuries. They're just friction being quietly removed from your week. One decision at a time. And the strange thing is, most people here don't even notice it's happened. Like, they just slowly stop bracing for impact. Now, real talk, This level is rare. About 21% of US households are millionaires, and the line for the top 10% of all American households by net worth now sits closer to $2.4 million. So, if you cross $1 million, you're not doing okay. You're in the top fifth of the entire country. The problem is, it rarely feels that way. And there's a reason for that, which brings me to the trap hiding inside level 2. The trap is called lifestyle inflation, and it is the silent assassin of this entire stage. Every time your income goes up, there's a gravitational pull to let your spending drift up right behind it. Researchers have a name for this, the hedonic treadmill. You get the raise, you get the nicer car, and within about a year, the nicer car just feels like your car. The thrill evaporates, but the payment stays. So, you upgrade again, chasing a high that keeps resetting to zero. This is how people pulling 300,000 a year still end up broke. Their money never gets the chance to take that second job, because every dollar gets drafted into a bigger mortgage, a leased Range Rover, and a lifestyle that quietly eats the future to feed the present. Level 2 isn't really about earning more. It's about having the nerve to let the gap between what you make and what you spend stay open long enough for compounding to walk through it. So, notice the pattern forming. Level 1 didn't add a luxury, it subtracted a fear, the fear of the emergency. Level 2 subtracts another one, the fear of being trapped by a single employer. Each level you climb isn't about adding stuff to your life, it's about removing fears from it. Keep that in mind because level 3 removes the biggest fear of all, and it's the one almost nobody is prepared for. Level 3, 2.5 to 5 million, buying back your time. There's a scene in a movie called The Gambler, where John Goodman, playing the human embodiment of a man who is permanently done doing things he doesn't want to do, lays out his entire philosophy of money. He says, the goal isn't to be rich. The goal is to hit a specific number, put it somewhere safe, and reach what he crudely calls FU money, a position where no person, no boss, no bank can make you do anything you don't want to do. His number was $2.5 million. And here's what's wild, that wasn't just movie dialogue. That number is almost mathematically perfect, and it's built on one of the most tested ideas in all of personal finance. It's called the 4% rule, and it comes from a study where researchers tested decades of market history to answer one question. How much can you pull out of a portfolio every year without ever running out of money? The answer they kept landing on was around 4%, which gives us a beautifully simple shortcut. Whatever you spend in a year, multiply it by 25. That's your number. The point where your investments can fund your life basically forever. So, let's run it. If your life costs $40, 00 to year, your number is 1 million. If you spend 80,000, it's 2 million. And if you want to live on a $100,000 a year without ever working another day, you need about 2.5 million. Look familiar? That's Goodman's number. The screenwriter did the math. Push it to 5 million and you can support $175 to $200,000 lifestyle off the returns alone. And you're now in the top 4% of all US households. Out of roughly 135 million households in this country, only about 5.5 million have $5 million or more. This is genuinely the rare air. And I'll be honest with you, this is the level I see people get most wrong, because the math finally works, and they assume the meaning will show up automatically. It doesn't. They think level 3 is about stuff. The mansion, the boat, the watch that costs more than most people's cars. It's not because by the time you reach this level, the research says something almost cruel is waiting for a lot of people. Here's the uncomfortable truth about money and happiness. For years, the famous study everyone quoted said, happiness flatlines once you hit about $100, 00 a year. Past that point, more money just stops moving the needle. Then a researcher named Matthew Killingsworth came along, tracked over 1 million real-time mood reports from thousands of people, and found that wasn't true at all. Happiness kept rising right along with income with no ceiling in sight. So, who was right? Here's the answer I promised you at the start. And it's the most useful idea in this entire video. The two camps actually got in a room together and worked it out. For most people, the roughly 80% who are already reasonably content, more money really does keep buying more happiness all the way up. But for the unhappy 20%, money relieves their suffering up to about $100,000 a year. and then it just stops, because their unhappiness was never really about money in the first place. And no amount of our net worth can buy your way out of a problem that money didn't cause. That's the secret hiding inside level 3. The people who get here and stay miserable are the ones who thought the number itself was the destination. The people who get here and finally feel different are the ones who use the number to buy the only thing money can actually purchase that matters. Control over their own time. Waking up without an alarm. Saying yes to the people they love and no to the work they hate. Being there for the things they used to miss. Level 1 bought back a quiet mind. Level 2 bought back options. Level 3 buys back your one finite non-renewable resource, the actual hours of your life from anyone who used to own them. That's the whole game. That is what's really on the other side of that number. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, Nick, I'm not even at level 1 yet. This is depressing. Stop. I need you to hear this clearly. The fact that these levels are rare isn't a reason to feel behind. It's the entire reason they're worth chasing. Almost a third of this country can't cover 3 months of expenses. The bar to feel genuinely different isn't infinite wealth. It's a cushion, then a choice, then your time back. That's it. And the most encouraging part is the part we started with. The hardest, slowest, most thankless stretch of this whole journey is the climb to that first 100 grand. The part where it's all you and the market is barely helping. Almost everyone who quits right there in the slog, right before the snowball crests the hill. If you can just outlast the boring part, the math stops working against you and starts working for you. You don't have to get smarter. You just have to get stubborn. Quick aside, and then I'll get right back to it. Everything I just did in this video, taking a dry Federal Reserve statistic and turning it into the mall study, the snowball, the Goodman scene, that's not luck or talent. It's a repeatable process. And it's the exact thing I teach in a community I built for people who want to research, write, and grow a faceless YouTube channel in spaces like personal finance. If a project like that has ever crossed your mind, the link's in the description. No pressure at all. It'll be there whenever you're ready. Now, back to your money. Here's the reframe I want to leave you with. We've been trained to measure ourselves by income, the number on the paycheck, the title in the email signature, the salary we'd admit to at a dinner party. But income is just the speed of the water. Net worth is the size of the bucket. And Jason Logan are two guys with identical $90, 0 salaries and completely different lives in that parking lot. The only thing that ever separated them was which line in the bucket they'd quietly crossed. Jace wasn't richer on payday. He was just further along the number line. That's it. That's the whole difference. You don't reach level 3 by accident, and you don't reach level 1 overnight. But you get there one boring, unglamorous automated contribution at a time. So pick your level, not the fantasy one, the next one, the one that's actually within reach from wherever you're standing today. Because 10 years from now, that money is either going to be quietly working for you the way it works for Jace, or you're going to be working around the lack of it the way Logan does. And I know which version of that parking lot moment I'd rather be living. One last thing, and it's the only boring sentence in here. I'm not a financial advisor, and none of this is financial advice. It's just patterns I've watched play out with real numbers attached. Take what's useful and leave the rest. If this changed how you think about the number in your account, do me a favor and drop a comment telling me which level you're climbing toward right now. I actually read them. And if you want the other half of this picture, the exact moves that get you across that first line fastest, I made a full video on it and it's right there on the screen. Go watch that one next. I'll see you in it.